Have you ever wondered why woodland soil stays rich, moist, and full of life, even though nobody spreads mulch there? In natural ecosystems, forests don't rely on bags of wood chips or endless layers of bark. Instead, nature protects the soil with living plants that cover the ground year-round. These natural ground covers act as a living blanket, helping the soil retain moisture, reducing weed growth, preventing erosion, and supporting countless beneficial organisms beneath the surface. Over time, they create a self-sustaining system that continuously improves itself without requiring constant maintenance. Even more impressive, many of these plants do much more than simply cover the ground. Some capture nitrogen from the air and convert it into valuable nutrients. Others create such dense growth that weeds struggle to establish themselves at all. As leaves, stems, and roots naturally decompose, they feed earthworms, beneficial microbes, and the entire underground ecosystem. And the best part is that building this type of living mulch system often starts with something as simple as sowing seeds. 1. Vetch. Vetch is one of the most valuable living mulch plants used in regenerative gardening and sustainable farming systems. At first glance, it appears to be a modest vine with soft green foliage and clusters of delicate purple flowers. But beneath that simple appearance lies a powerful soil-building plant capable of transforming poor ground into fertile growing space. One of vetch's greatest strengths is its rapid growth. Once established, it spreads quickly across bare soil, creating a thick green carpet that protects exposed ground from harsh environmental conditions. This living cover helps reduce evaporation, keeps soil cooler during hot weather, and prevents valuable moisture from escaping too quickly. The dense foliage also serves as a natural weed barrier. By shading the soil surface, vetch limits the amount of sunlight reaching weed seeds, making it far more difficult for unwanted plants to germinate and grow. At the same time, it protects the soil from erosion caused by heavy rainfall, strong winds, and intense sun exposure. However, the most important work happens underground. Vetch belongs to the legume family, which means it forms a partnership with beneficial bacteria living on its roots. These bacteria capture nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into a form that plants can use. As a result, vetch actively enriches the soil while it grows. This natural fertilizing ability makes it especially valuable for depleted gardens, neglected plots, and areas where soil fertility has declined over time. Another major advantage is the amount of organic matter it produces. Many regenerative gardeners intentionally grow vetch as a cover crop before cutting it down and leaving the plant material directly on the soil surface. This technique, often called chop and drop, creates a natural mulch layer while simultaneously feeding soil organisms. The roots continue supporting life below ground, while the decomposing foliage nourishes the surface. Over time, this process helps improve soil structure, increase organic matter, boost earthworm populations, and encourage microbial activity. As soil biology improves, water retention increases and plant health often improves dramatically. Gardeners frequently notice that crops require less fertilizer and become more resilient after repeated use of cover crops like vetch. Another reason vetch is so widely used is its adaptability. It grows successfully in many soil types, including areas where other plants struggle. This makes it particularly useful for restoring degraded land and rebuilding soil health naturally. When flowering begins, the benefits extend above ground as well. The purple blossoms attract numerous pollinators, especially bees, transforming the area into a busy and biologically diverse habitat. For many regenerative gardeners, vetch is far more than a cover crop. It is one of the building blocks of a healthy and productive soil ecosystem. 2. Sweet alyssum. Sweet alyssum may be small in size, but it delivers an astonishing number of benefits to the garden. Its delicate clusters of white, pink, or lavender flowers create a soft carpet of color that seems to float just above the soil. While its appearance is gentle and ornamental, this plant performs an important role as a living mulch. As sweet alyssum spreads, it forms a dense ground cover that shades the soil and helps maintain cooler temperatures during hot weather. This protective layer significantly reduces moisture loss and creates a more stable environment for plant roots. The soil remains cooler, softer, and more biologically active instead of becoming dry, cracked, and compacted. Weed suppression is another major benefit. Because alyssum grows densely across open spaces, it blocks much of the sunlight weed seeds need to germinate. This reduces competition and helps desirable plants thrive with less maintenance. But perhaps the greatest contribution of sweet alyssum is the incredible diversity of beneficial insects it attracts. The flowers are highly attractive to pollinators such as bees, but one of their most valuable visitors is the hoverfly. Adult hoverflies feed on nectar and pollen, while their larvae are voracious predators of aphids and other common garden pests. In effect, sweet alyssum helps create a natural pest control system. Instead of relying heavily on sprays and interventions, gardeners can encourage beneficial insects that naturally help keep pest populations in balance. Vegetable crops often benefit enormously from this increased biodiversity. Tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, kale, cabbage, and many other crops grow alongside alyssum while enjoying greater pollinator activity and improved biological balance. Another reason gardeners appreciate sweet alyssum is its speed. The seeds germinate quickly, the plants establish rapidly, and flowering often begins within a short period of time. Bare patches of soil are soon transformed into vibrant carpets, filled with blooms and insect activity. Garden beds become more colorful, pollinator populations increase, and the entire garden feels more alive. As the season progresses and plants eventually die back, the foliage naturally decomposes into the soil. This adds organic matter precisely where it is needed without requiring any additional work from the gardener. There are no bags of mulch to purchase, no heavy materials to spread, and no need for constant replacement. The plant itself becomes part of the soil building process. That is one of the greatest advantages of living mulch systems. Instead of fighting against nature, gardeners work with natural processes that have protected and enriched ecosystems for countless generations. The result is healthier soil, stronger plants, greater biodiversity, and a garden that becomes more productive with every passing season. 3. Alfalfa. Alfalfa is often regarded as one of the most powerful plants for naturally rebuilding soil health. For generations, farmers have used it not only as animal feed, but also as a valuable tool for restoring depleted land. In regenerative gardening, alfalfa is appreciated for its ability to improve the soil, both above and below the surface, creating healthier growing conditions over time. At first glance, it may seem like a fairly ordinary plant. Its flowers are modest, and it lacks the showy appearance of many ornamental species. Yet beneath the soil, alfalfa is performing remarkable work. Its root system extends incredibly deep into the ground, sometimes reaching several meters below the surface. These roots access moisture and nutrients hidden far beyond the reach of most garden plants. Calcium, magnesium, iron, potassium, and numerous trace minerals. Alfalfa gradually draws these nutrients upward, helping replenish the upper layers of soil where vegetables, flowers, and other plants can benefit from them. This is why many gardeners refer to alfalfa as a natural nutrient accumulator. Its benefits don't stop there. As the plant grows, it develops dense, leafy foliage that shades the soil like a living mulch. This protective cover helps retain moisture, reduce weed growth, and shield the ground from excessive heat. Without protection, bare soil often becomes dry, compacted, and biologically inactive. Under a healthy stand of alfalfa, conditions are very different. The soil stays cooler, moisture remains longer, beneficial organisms thrive, and soil structure gradually improves. Its deep roots help loosen compacted ground, allowing air and water to penetrate more effectively. Earthworms become more active, microbial populations expand, and the entire underground ecosystem grows healthier. Because alfalfa belongs to the legume family, it also contributes nitrogen to the soil through beneficial root bacteria. Rather than simply using nutrients, it actively helps replenish them. This makes alfalfa one of the most valuable plants for regenerative gardening systems. It protects the soil, feeds the soil, improves the soil, and restores fertility simultaneously. Many gardeners cut alfalfa several times throughout the growing season and leave the clippings directly on the ground around vegetables, fruit trees, and flower beds. These fresh cuttings decompose quickly, returning nutrients to the soil while feeding worms and beneficial microbes. Instead of purchasing mulch year after year, alfalfa continually produces its own source of organic matter. Some orchard growers plant it between rows of trees to improve moisture retention and long-term soil health. Others use it to rehabilitate land affected by erosion, drought, or years of intensive cultivation. Over time, the results become increasingly noticeable. Organic matter builds, water retention improves, soil life returns, and the earth becomes richer, darker, and more productive. For many regenerative gardeners, alfalfa is far more than a simple cover crop. It is one of nature's most effective tools for restoring soil vitality. 4. Comfrey. Comfrey is often considered one of the most valuable plants in regenerative gardening because it functions like a natural nutrient recycling system. Its large leaves and vigorous growth make it impossible to overlook, but the real magic happens underground. Comfrey develops an extensive root system that reaches deep into the soil, penetrating layers that many plants can never access. These roots tap into mineral reserves hidden far below the surface: calcium, potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, and numerous trace elements. The plant absorbs these nutrients and stores them in its massive leaves, gradually bringing valuable fertility closer to the surface. This unique ability has earned Comfrey the reputation of being a dynamic accumulator. It acts almost like a natural mining operation, retrieving nutrients from deep underground and making them available to other plants. Above ground, Comfrey's enormous leaves spread outward, creating dense shade that protects the soil from direct sunlight. This living canopy helps conserve moisture, suppress weeds, and maintain cooler soil temperatures throughout the growing season. But perhaps the most remarkable feature of Comfrey is its ability to regrow rapidly after being cut. Many gardeners harvest the leaves multiple times each season and use them as nutrient-rich mulch around vegetables, flower beds, and fruit trees. This technique, commonly known as chop and drop, creates a highly efficient fertility cycle. Fresh leaves decompose quickly, releasing nutrients directly into the soil while feeding earthworms and beneficial microorganisms. Unlike many mulch materials that break down slowly, Comfrey provides a fast and continuous source of organic matter. Some gardeners even steep the leaves in water to create a homemade liquid fertilizer rich in minerals and plant nutrients. Fruit trees especially benefit from being planted near Comfrey. The deep roots continually gather nutrients while the leaves recycle them near the soil surface. Pollinators visit the flowers, soil moisture remains more stable, and fertility steadily increases over time. As years pass, the surrounding soil often becomes noticeably healthier. It grows darker, looser, richer, and more biologically active. Another reason permaculture gardeners value Comfrey so highly is its resilience. Once established, its deep roots make it extremely drought-tolerant. Even during dry periods, the plant continues producing large amounts of biomass, while many shallow-rooted species struggle. Its extensive root system also helps stabilize soil and reduce erosion naturally. In many ways, Comfrey behaves less like an ordinary garden plant and more like a permanent fertility generator embedded directly into the landscape. Rather than simply feeding individual plants, it helps nourish the entire soil ecosystem. 5. Oregano. Most people know oregano as a culinary herb, but in a regenerative garden it can serve a much larger purpose. Certain varieties spread across the ground, forming dense mats of fragrant foliage that function as a highly effective living mulch. As oregano expands, it creates a protective layer over the soil that helps reduce moisture loss, prevent erosion, and shield the ground from intense sunlight. Unlike traditional mulch that gradually breaks down and requires replacement, oregano continues growing and renewing itself year after year. Its thick foliage acts as a natural barrier against harsh environmental conditions. During hot weather, soil beneath oregano remains cooler and retains moisture more effectively than exposed ground. At the same time, the dense growth helps suppress weeds by blocking sunlight from reaching the soil surface. As oregano spreads, bare patches gradually disappear beneath a carpet of green growth, creating a more balanced and self-sustaining landscape. One of oregano's greatest strengths is its durability. It thrives in environments where many other ground covers struggle. Dry conditions, rocky soils, low fertility, intense summer heat, Mediterranean climates. Oregano handles them all with remarkable ease. Once established, it typically requires very little irrigation, making it an excellent choice for low-maintenance and water-wise gardens. Its aromatic qualities provide another benefit. On warm days, oregano releases fragrant essential oils that fill the garden with a rich herbal scent. Simply brushing against the foliage can release a pleasant aroma that enhances the entire outdoor space. The flowers are equally valuable. When oregano blooms, it becomes highly attractive to pollinators. Bees, butterflies, and many beneficial insects gather around the flowers, increasing biodiversity throughout the garden. Many gardeners intentionally plant oregano near vegetables and fruit trees to encourage pollinator activity and support a healthier ecosystem. Because it remains relatively low-growing, oregano works well along pathways beneath taller plants and even as a lawn alternative in certain situations. Unlike conventional turf grass, it contributes actively to the ecosystem by providing food, habitat, and protection for countless beneficial organisms. Over time, older stems and leaves naturally break down beneath the plant, adding organic matter directly into the soil. As a result, oregano not only protects the ground but also helps improve it. This illustrates one of the most powerful principles behind living mulch systems. Rather than functioning as isolated plants, every part of the garden works together as a connected ecosystem where each layer supports and strengthens the next. 6. Phacelia. Phacelia is one of those rare plants that manages to combine stunning beauty with extraordinary usefulness. When it comes into bloom, its finely divided fern-like foliage becomes topped with graceful clusters of blue-violet flowers that seem to float above the garden. In the sunlight, entire patches can resemble a sea of soft purple mist, alive with bees, butterflies, and beneficial insects. Yet behind this ornamental appearance lies one of the most effective soil-improving cover crops available to gardeners. One of Phacelia's greatest strengths is its rapid growth. Within a relatively short period, it can transform bare ground into a dense green canopy that protects the soil from intense sunlight, heavy rainfall, and drying winds. This living cover helps reduce moisture loss and keeps the soil cooler during hot weather. As the foliage thickens, weeds begin to lose their advantage. The dense growth shades the soil surface, preventing many weed seeds from receiving enough light to germinate. Instead of constantly pulling unwanted plants, gardeners can allow Phacelia to naturally suppress them. But the most valuable benefits occur below ground. Phacelia develops an extensive root system that penetrates compacted soil and helps improve its structure. As the roots grow, they create pathways that allow water, oxygen, earthworms, and beneficial microbes to move more easily through the soil profile. Over time, heavy soil gradually becomes looser and easier to work. Water infiltration improves, biological activity increases, and the underground ecosystem becomes healthier and more productive. This continuous presence of living roots helps support beneficial organisms while protecting the soil from long-term degradation. Then there are the pollinators. Few cover crops attract beneficial insects as effectively as Phacelia. During peak bloom, the flowers become magnets for honeybees, native bees, hoverflies, butterflies, and countless other pollinating species. Entire plantings can buzz with activity from sunrise until evening. Many beekeepers intentionally grow Phacelia because of its exceptional ability to attract and support bee populations. This abundance of pollinators also benefits nearby vegetables, fruit trees, and flowering crops by improving pollination and encouraging a healthier ecological balance throughout the garden. Another reason Phacelia is highly valued is its ability to generate large amounts of biomass very quickly. As the plants mature, gardeners often cut them down and leave the foliage directly on the soil surface as green mulch. The material breaks down rapidly, feeding earthworms and beneficial microbes while continuing to shield the soil from heat and erosion. At the same time, the roots decompose underground, contributing additional organic matter deeper in the soil profile. The result is a system that improves soil from both directions: protection above, improvement below. Exactly the way healthy natural ecosystems function. Perhaps the most remarkable quality of Phacelia is the way it blends beauty and practicality so effortlessly. Rather than looking like a typical cover crop, it creates the appearance of a vibrant wildflower meadow filled with movement, color, and biodiversity, while quietly rebuilding the soil beneath it. 7. Lupins. Lupins are among the most striking plants gardeners can grow for both beauty and soil improvement. Their tall flower spikes rise dramatically above the foliage, producing brilliant displays of purple, blue, pink, yellow, white, and even multicolored blooms. During flowering season, they can make a garden feel more like a mountain meadow than a cultivated landscape. But while the flowers capture attention above ground, their greatest contribution takes place beneath the soil. Lupins belong to the legume family, which means they form partnerships with nitrogen-fixing bacteria attached to their roots. These beneficial microorganisms capture nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into forms plants can use. As lupins grow, they gradually enrich the soil naturally. This ability makes them especially valuable in regenerative gardening systems, where long-term fertility is built through natural processes rather than heavy reliance on synthetic fertilizers. Yet nitrogen fixation is only one part of the story. Lupins also develop powerful taproots capable of penetrating compacted soil layers. These deep roots act almost like natural soil aerators, breaking through dense ground and creating channels for water and air movement. As the root system expands, several important improvements begin to occur. Water penetrates deeper into the soil. Air circulation improves. Earthworms move more freely. Beneficial microbes become more active. And future plant roots gain easier access to nutrients and moisture. Gradually, hard and lifeless soil becomes softer, richer, and far more productive. At the surface, lupins continue contributing to the health of the garden. Their dense foliage shades the soil, helping reduce moisture loss and limiting weed growth naturally. In many ways, mature lupin plantings function like living fertility centers surrounded by increasingly healthy soil ecosystems. Pollinators are equally attracted to the flowers. Throughout the blooming season, bees move constantly among the colorful flower spikes collecting nectar and pollen. Butterflies and other beneficial insects soon follow, increasing biodiversity throughout the garden. Even after flowering has finished, the benefits continue. Leaves decompose into organic matter. Roots break down underground. Nitrogen cycles back into the soil. Microbial communities feed on plant residues, and future crops inherit improved growing conditions. Many gardeners deliberately use lupins to rehabilitate sandy or nutrient-poor soils because of their ability to thrive in difficult environments, while steadily improving fertility over time. Perhaps the most appealing aspect of lupins is the atmosphere they create. A landscape filled with flowering lupins feels vibrant, natural, and full of movement. It doesn't appear overly controlled or artificial. Instead, it resembles a thriving natural ecosystem. And that reflects one of the central principles of regenerative gardening. The healthiest gardens often work with nature rather than trying to control it, creating living systems that become richer, stronger, and more productive with every passing season.